Greetings, welcome to Facts About Everything. I'm your host, James Egan. Today on Greatest Movies Ever Week, we're looking at The Wizard of Oz. Because? Is there another one? I don't know. The film is based on L. Frank Baum's novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. In the novel, the ruby slippers are silver. They were changed to ruby in the movie so they would stand out more. At the time, it was one of the very few movies to be in colour. Many people don't know that the film is actually a remake of the 1925 version of The Wizard of Oz. The wizard's name is Professor Marvel. The song, Over the Rainbow, was nearly cut from the film. Why? If you ask most people, children or adults, who's the scariest character in anything ever, the most common answer is the Wicked Witch. The funny thing is, a lot of the scenes that she was in were either shortened or cut entirely because the director thought audiences would find her too scary. After a tree tosses an apple at the Scarecrow, you can clearly see that Dorothy is not wearing her ruby slippers. When Scarecrow gets a brain, he says this:
"Sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side."
Yeah, that's not true. The lion's costume weighed 90 pounds. When the Wicked Witch tries to touch the ruby slippers, fire shoots out of them. This special effect was done by having apple juice spraying out the shoes and then speeding up the footage to top speed. When smoke appears after the Wicked Witch leaves Munchkin Land, the actress Margaret Hamilton suffered third-degree burns. This movie was really fun to watch, but it was so dangerous to film. Like, so dangerous. The horses of Oz were painted with Jell-O. Judy Garland had to wear an excruciating corset to come across as flat-chested. The dog that plays Toto is called Terry. She has starred in 18 films. Although Terry was the main dog to play Toto, she had two stunt doubles. The actors who played the Munchkins were paid $50 per week. Terry the dog earned $125 per week. And if you think that's ridiculous, name one Munchkin's name. Everyone remembers Toto, whatever his name is. I don't know, it's a dog, who cares? He's long dead. Anyway, I can't say that. I'm keeping it in, don't care. Ray Bolger was cast as the Tin Man, but he convinced the director to cast him as a Scarecrow. This means that the actor who was originally going to play the Scarecrow, Buddy Ebsen, was cast as the Tin Man. However, Buddy had to quit the film because the aluminum dust on his Tin Man costume caused an allergic reaction, and it coated the inside of his lungs, which permanently affected his breathing for the rest of his life. Ebsen said it was the most humiliating thing that ever happened to him, and it only happened because Bolger wanted to play the Scarecrow. The Tin Man was then cast as Jack Haley. The director, Richard Thorpe, was fired and replaced after 2 weeks. The head flying monkey is called Nico. Or Nico. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't speak monkey. Judy Garland wore a blonde wig as Dorothy for the first few weeks. This next fact I love. When L. Frank Baum was writing this book originally, and he told his friends, they said, "What's this place called, this magical place that they live in?" He didn't come up with a name yet, and he was desperate for a name, so he just looked around the room, and he saw an encyclopedia that said A to N, O to Z, and he just went, Oz. And that's how he came up with the name. In the original novel, the Tin Man, who's actually called the Tin Woodsman, was a normal man called Nick Chopper. Over time, he had all of his limbs chopped off one by one and replaced by tin. Is this a children's book? I don't actually know. The sequel, Return to Oz, was released in 1985. At the time, it had the world record for the longest time between a film and its sequel, 46 years. I never found Wizard of Oz scary. I found Return to Oz very scary.
Come here, chicken!
The snow in the poppy scene is made of asbestos. At the time of filming, the producers were aware that asbestos was potentially lethal. What's wrong with the people who made this film? This is a common misconception. At no point in the entire movie does the Wicked Witch ever say, "Fly, my pretties, fly." Instead, she just says to the monkeys,
"Those ruby slippers, I want those most of all. Now fly! Fly!"
The makeup that Ray Bolger wore as a Scarecrow left lines on his face that didn't fade for over a year. The guardsmen at the witch's castle are called Winkies. This is also the name of my mum's dog. The film involved 14 writers and 5 directors. Shirley Temple was considered for the lead role. Judy Garland breaks character in the scene where she meets the lion. After he says, "Is my nose bleeding?" she replies with, "No, of course not." You can then see her hiding her laughter with Toto for a second before she continues the scene. And if you think that little mistake is barely noticeable, the director noticed it and slapped her in the face straight after. Although if it's that noticeable, then why didn't you reshoot it? Special thanks to these fine people for all their help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.